Times best-selling author Denise KIernan is joining us today. She's in Cincinnati on her nationwide book tour for The Girls of Atomic City, a novel that is just sure to absolutely pique your interest about kind of a different angle in this time in our history. Tell us what the book is about.
So The Girls of Atomic City is a narrative nonfiction book, the true story of young women living and working in a secret government city during World War II. That government city was Oak Ridge, Tennessee, outside of Knoxville, and the project they were working on was the Manhattan Project, the project that resulted in the world's first nuclear weapons. The catch, they didn't know at the time that that was what they were working on.
Amazing story. And you've interviewed some of these women who are now in their 80s.
80s and 90s, indeed. When I came across the story, I knew that if I wanted to do this, I wanted to be able to let the women themselves carry the story through. I wanted to track them down and sit down with them and hear them tell their stories, and so that's what I did.
So give me a story that you heard, or at least part of one that interested you maybe above all else.
Well, I remember interviewing a girl, Helen, and she was recruited at 18 out of a diner in the middle of Tennessee, and she's told, would you like this job in another eastern part of the state? We can't tell you exactly where, and the pay will be 79 cents an hour. And she's
big
like,
money.
That's fantastic. I'm going. And shortly after she arrives, she's actually approached to inform on other people living and working in her dorm and in the cafeteria and at work.
Really?
Because security was so tight, they often used civilian informants to listen in on people's conversations. So having Helen talk about that was really, really interesting to have her reflect on that.
How long afterward did these young girls find out that they were working on the atomic bomb?
Actually, the majority of the people who worked on the project, it was so far-reaching and touched many parts of the country, they found out on August 6, 1945, when the first atomic bomb ever used in combat was detonated over Hiroshima.
That's how they found out?
The majority of them, yes.
And are there lasting effects for them psychologically? I mean, there's the good and the bad. They say it ended the war, and at the same time, obviously, the pain and suffering of
Sure, of course.
So
and
many.
you know, people talk about that complex range of emotions that really only this community experienced. They lived in two different worlds, a world without nuclear weapons and a world with nuclear weapons. I found that transition from one age to another to be very interesting.
Why are people going to really enjoy reading this book? I mean, it's fascinating in terms of the information, but what is the takeaway?
I think what's interesting is to look at, these are women who, when I first approached them, said, you don't want to talk to me, I don't know anything, because they were kept in the dark.
Very humble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think this just says this is an accessible way to examine a very important part of our history, the development of nuclear weapons. But you also see them as real people, and you get a real snapshot of the war's effect on absolutely everybody, and it just reminds you we should all value our experiences, and we are all witnesses to history in our own way.
Yeah, very well put. You have such an interesting life. You were a writer for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I was the head writer.
So
I was the head writer.
The head writer. No. So now you're getting into this heavy stuff. So check her out in the new book, The Girls of Atomic City, at Joseph Beth tonight at 7 o'clock. Good luck with the book. So very nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
And hear about this. Okay, and we will be right back.
Catch